Welcome to another edition of What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakeley. On this week's program, a new police initiative in downtown Barrie. Here comes summer. We got a look into Environment Canada's crystal ball. Talk is Free Theatre launches a festival of myths, legends, and theatre gods this weekend. And Davestock returns this weekend, celebrating the life of local musician Dave Yole and supporting Gilda's Club. We get the conversation started after this. This is What Barrie's Talking About from Barrie 360. I'm Dan Blakeley, and welcoming back somebody we haven't walked the beat with in years, Angie Butler, or is it Angela now because you're a sergeant?
No, it's definitely Angie.
Welcome back. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, Dan.
You used to be here on a regular basis, helping us understand what policing was like in Barrie and what was going on, and you've got a new program beginning downtown. What's it all about? Tell us.
Last year we tried out something new in our deployment for our downtown core. We tried out 10 officers. That was a combination of sworn police officers, sergeant, coupled with special constables. So they were teamed up with our officers and they went down there for increased resources in our deployment. And it worked out just fantastic. The public loved it. The officers loved it. The business community loved it. It increased our visibility down there. So we decided, again, going forward this year, we would continue that because we heard the voices of the folks in our downtown core and throughout our city. It was important. So this year, we're actually having 17. So we have, again, our downtown engagement team, officers partnered with special constables. What a fantastic group. They're eager, they're ready. A lot of them aspire to be police officers. So this couldn't be the more perfect place for them to kind of get in there and see what we do as a service. And we're also partnered with the City of Barrie, and we're doing our City Guardian program. So that takes special constables and puts them on foot or on bicycles in the downtown core, but circulating between 3 City of Barrie facilities, being the public library, being Barrie City Hall, and the bus terminal. So they will rotate in those positions. There's a team of 7 of them. They will have different deployment hours throughout the day. We have learned from looking at data that some of the busiest times down there, and that's when we've appropriately put them there in those positions to be visible for, that enhanced response time, problem solving, engagement with the community. So they're going to be down there. So expect to see us. The special constables are all wearing high visibility shirts, just like the officers. They're a bright blue. They're going to be down there and everyone's going to see them. So we look forward. We had a survey that went out before this to get the community's ideas about it, and we'll back that up at a survey at the end of it too. So we're pretty excited about it.
I've had people ask me in the past because they've heard the term special constable. What is a special constable?
So a special constable is a peace officer. So they have authorities as well. They can use provincial offenses. They can investigate things. They can Trespass to Property Act, Liquor License Act. They have many powers and now more powers with the new legislation. So they are an enhanced form of the police. So we have special constables in all areas, and people will see them out too. Our service has now gone to a vehicle that has special constable branding on the vehicle themselves, so you'll know when that is a special constable. And we have them as part of our platoons as well, doing lower priority threshold calls and assisting the public. We have them in our court. You'll see them in our court services. And you'll see them in other different areas. So special constables are a great augmentation to our service, a great profession.
You were involved in a downtown initiative a few years ago. How does this new initiative differ from that one?
So we've just scaled up, which is pretty exciting because that first initiative that you and I have talked a lot about, that you referred to it, Walking the Beat. We were old friends back then. Mm-hmm. It all started with more increased foot and bike patrol and the high visibility shirts so that we could be seen no matter where we were, to show that we were there and supporting the community. Now we've stepped it up. pretty much in, our vehicles are higher visibility. We now have a UTV, which we can get on the trails. We've used it so many times, in missing children circumstances or looking for evidence. It's great to get in there. And we've just augmented with resources. We've tripled the number of officers down there. It's fantastic.
What change have you seen from that first initiative to the start of this one now? Because people talk about downtown Barrie all the time, and they think it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It's the most horrible place in the world if you subscribe to what's being said on social media. I'm thinking you've probably got a different story to tell.
I do. I love our downtown. Like you referenced, this is my second time down there, and it's been one of my most rewarding positions to date. And, the city of Barrie and downtown, we're not unique to problems that are happening across Canada. But what I can say about downtown Barrie, it's vibrant, it's beautiful. The BIA and the city of Barrie have done a wonderful job of bringing activities down there to engage people down there, to, families, all kinds of events. I was just part of the air show. I mean, what a great weekend that was. And things like that are happening constantly. And Barrie is a great place to be. We do know social disorder is there, and we do our best. We have such great relationships with our social services in the downtown core. We work quite closely with them, and we know quite often the people down there that need the help and that we are helping. Sometimes what we do behind the scenes is not always known, but those things are happening on a daily, minute-by-minute basis. For example, we have a dedicated team, an officer teamed with a Canadian mental health worker that is just for downtown, that will help with those people that are in crisis and that really need it. So we are addressing what we need to address downtown, but it's a group effort. We've always said it takes a village, but it really is that. We work very closely with all of our partners. And the people that work in the downtown, the officers, they are picked for their compassion, their skills, but they're also enforcement-based. We have things that we do. We enforce the criminal code, but we also help people at the same time. It's a very purposeful balance.
It's a lot different, policing, than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago, where you have this compassion now. You're trying to help people as opposed to arrest people and drag them away. As you said, every community in Canada has issues, particularly in their downtown area. But the more you're involved, the police are involved, and get to know the merchants and the retailers and the business people, and also the people who are hanging around down there. And then you've got this kind of relationship, and you know what you're walking into when you meet them and they're in a troubled state. You
got it. I mean, we have officers down there that we know the people, and they want to come to us because we have such a good relationship with them. And that has historically happened. And like I said, those people are down there for the right reasons. And we talked with them. We helped them. A lot of it, officers really go above and beyond down there. They really do care. And we're sometimes the ones that are reaching out and facilitating and fueling that extra push for the resources that we want to do that. It's a great place to be, and very fortunate to be down there with the team we have. And
you're doing everything you can, but even with the added resources and the added manpower, woman power, you can't be everywhere at once. So there are going to be things that are happening. Pretty close, though, Dan. Pretty close. No, I don't want to take that away from you, but something's going to happen at one end of downtown, and there aren't any officers right there. But people get very critical about that. Well, where were the police when that happened? Well, first of all, you have to know about it, and then you have to get there. Yes, and for the public, there's ways to know about it too. We have a very active social media to let you know what we're doing, what events are going on, and what we're dealing with. And we're very evidence-informed, data-driven. So we look very closely at the type of calls we get, the time of those calls, the priority of those calls, where those calls are happening, and we deploy our people based on that.
It's not as simple as just putting people out, on every corner, or just, go out and randomly, be about down there. We're very strategic in what we do, and that makes a difference. That makes a difference in the calls that are attended to. We have, you look at it, sometimes those calls that are coming in, the officers are already there before that call is even generated, because we strategically place them at the right time in the right places based on that data that we look at. So that is very important for the officers down there. Not only, they track their activities, they've all been provided an app on their phones that tracks everything that they do. So you may see an officer on their phone, but everything is through their phone. They're tracking of their activities, they're generating of calls, they're referring of resources. So that's something that's given to them that they can do just in that very instance. So it's very strategic how we do things down there, and it's making a difference.
So this sounds like it's the beginning of something even bigger, that there's more to come to this. This is just the beginnings of it, right?
Yeah, I hope so. Like you said, we scaled up from previous years when we talked, and I think it's only going to get bigger and better in what we do. And we're excited. I can't wait to get out and get mingling with the folks downtown again when all these fun events happen.
So I guess we're going to be seeing more of you in here to talk about all the new things that are going on.
You can count on it, Dan.
We'll look forward to it. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Just about done with spring. Summer arrives at 10:41 Friday night, June the 20th. Time for our quarterly chat with Environment Canada's David Phillips. David, been a so-so kind of spring, and it was that ice storm thingy that happened after we last spoke.
That's what the spring will be remembered by. I mean, I always think, I have a hard time at this time of the year, too, when I talk to some people about seasonal forecasts. I'll say, well, going to be warmer than normal, and precipitation may be near normal, and not a bad day, good for farmers and backyard gardeners, and you should enjoy the lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. But, Dan, I'm talking about something that won't define the season, and this is the extreme weather. And so we remember this spring. Doesn't matter whether it was colder or less snow or that. It was that ice storm on the last couple of days of March that absolutely changed the look and of Barrie. I mean, brought down precious trees, and so that's what people remember. Or I think about 2021. We had a kind of a warm and a little bit wetter summer, but my God, it was the tornado on July 15th that defined that particular summer. So these are things, Dan, we can't forecast in advance. We can talk about the average conditions in terms of temperature, precipitation, give people a sense of, hey, when would be the best part of summer. But my gosh, with extreme weather, which is really what counts, I mean, we lucky get it right the day of rather than 3 months before. So, we do get our share of summer severe weather, and I would love to be able to tell you, well, just avoid the outdoors on, August the 3rd, because, boy, there's going to be a humdinger of a storm breakout. Well, I'd be a charlatan if I said that, and would be a very rich person if that could come true. But my sense is that that's really what the forecast is really what impacts people, what affects them more than anything. But hey, there's still a lot of interest. Canadians love to know what the season ahead is going to be. They don't always believe you, but they certainly keep coming back for more, and to get a sense, kind of a heads up as to, well, is this going to be a turnaround? Is the spring that we've had, which has been kind of coolish and wettish, and my God, is that just like a one-off, or is that the pattern that's been set for the rest of the summer? So I know there's interest in the seasons, and that's why we talk every year about it, and I get great reaction from people who listen to you and hear it, and then they wonder whether it's going to be true or not, and of course they always remind me as to whether I was right or wrong. And I think I said this spring was going to be a kind of a mild one, another one, but my gosh, it was certainly not really what we thought it was going to be. It tended to be a little bit on the coolie side. I wouldn't call it a cold spring, but it was kind of a cool spring. March was actually, in spite of the ice storm, it was actually about almost more than 2 degrees warmer than normal. But April, May, and then if we count June into the spring season, boy, June has really been almost a full degree cooler than normal, and you would feel that, Dan. I mean, if I said to you it was a half a degree cooler than normal, you'd say, oh, I'm not going to argue with you. It was cooler than normal. But a full degree, and then, of course, we also saw in June so far was only 2 days in a row would be kind of good, and then it would be back into that misery again. We couldn't kind of buy a string of consistent weather where you wake up on a Monday and say, hey, let's go golfing on Wednesday or Thursday. Well, I mean, it was not going to be the weather you think it was. And so I think what we're seeing is this back and forth and up and down. It was wetter than normal and cooler than normal. We had only one day where the temperature was above 30. That was on June the 4th. And this time last year, I think we had about 4 or 5 of those days. So it's been kind of a disappointing beginning to the kind of summery-like weather. Now, we know on Friday it's when the first day of summer begins astronomically, so that everything really begins to count on a summer point of view from that day on. And the good news about it is that everybody seems to say the same thing, whether they be private weather services, whether it be the U.S., the Europeans, the Canadian models, they're all singing from the same song sheet. So they're all either going to be all right or all wrong on this one. And the other good news going into the summer, I always worry about the precipitation. I mean, not, the amounts of rain you get, well, is to be determined. But, are you wetter or drier going into the summer? And if it's going to be warmer than normal, boy, you really want it to have been wetter than normal, because that really is your safety valve for farmers and backyard gardeners, for the vegetation. If it's been wet, well, at least if it's going to be warm, that is the kind of almost perfect kind of situation. And that has been really the case. Since the 1st of January, Barrie has had about 30% more precipitation than normal. It's been that way in March, April, May. June has been very dry. My gosh, it's only about so far about maybe a third of what we normally would get. We need precipitation, kind of, but we've had it. So even if it turns out to be warmer than normal this summer, well, I mean, we're at least not going to be using the drought word right away. I mean, we're okay. If we look forward to the next, say, 3 months, July, August, and into September, what are our models? We haven't changed our models. We're staying with it. We're going to be, it's going to be a red letter day or from one way or the other for us on this particular 3-month period coming up. We certainly seen the air quality has improved dramatically, and we see temperatures actually being in every one of those months being warmer than normal. Now this month, kind of leading into the first day of summer, has been sort of typical, and we've had a couple of warm days and some cool days, and we've had some rain, and so, but we really think beginning the first full week of summer, next week and beyond till maybe certainly the middle of July, it looks like it's going to be certainly warmer than normal. And I would guarantee you, Dan, that there will be people in Barrie and Simcoe areas, and maybe I would say guessing in about 2.5 or 3 weeks, they'll be complaining about the heat and humidity. And they've had too much summer. Right now, it's a short supply, but I think that's going to be changed. And as I mentioned, precipitation is always a tough one to get right. We're showing normal precipitation. It's a bit of a cop-out because we really don't know, but we've had enough precipitation, so I think that we have got a safety valve there for whatever the summer throws at us. But as I said earlier, it's going to depend upon those moments where you get thunderstorms and wild weather and strong winds, and hey, maybe a twister in the region or what you don't really know. We don't know. But be prepared. I mean, that is really, it's part of our climate. It's part of where we live. We deal with it. We've got more great days than off days, but those days and the good thing about summer severe weather is it is often in short-lived. You can have a great soccer game or a family reunion picnic and watch the sky, and and maybe you'll have to kind of get indoors in safety for about an hour or an hour and a half, and it passes and you can resume. Not like in the wintertime where you can be hunkered down for about 2 or 3 days solid, waiting for that storm to move by. So, hey, I think it's going to be when we come to Labor Day and we crunch our numbers, I think we'll say, you know what, it was not a bad summer at all. It was had enough precipitation at the beginning. Severe weather was not really crippling, and we got enough warm temperatures to satisfy all those people who love muscle shirts and tank tops.
What Barrie's talking about, joined now by Arkady Spivak, creative director of Talk is Free Theatre. You have a big festival coming up, which sounds like a lot of fun. Fill us in. What's it all about?
So now, for the second year, we are doing a festival of experiential interactive works. And this is really events happening in non-traditional theater spaces and found locations, wherever you're least expecting them. But more importantly, it's something that allows the audience to become the character and the experience that they would be part of. So you're not watching it, you're watching yourself in it, of such, or you are participating. We call not patrons, but we call them participants. And there is all sorts of things, all sorts of interactive installations, performances, improv nights. And I should also caution that it's not everybody must participate. It's, for me personally, it's fun to see other people participate, but I'm saying, I'm just a bystander, don't touch me. And that's entirely what it's about. So we don't, it's not about that, it's not that everyone who enters will be tortured by an artistic narrative. That's really not what it is.
But you could be?
If you're willing, it's really relative to how far you're willing to go. Some people will just give me everything, I just want to do it all. Some people go, very interesting, but leave me alone. It's actually done to explore your inner self. In fact, everybody in the audience are participants. So it's not as though there are people who are giggling while you're being embarrassed. It's not about that at all. It's not a pantomime. It's almost the opposite.
So you're safe going in to enjoy this experience?
Very safe going in, And I think the reason why we're doing it, and again, we do a lot of work as a regular season, but the festival is now the second year, and it has a special theme. Last year we did marriage and commitment. This year it's myths and legends from around the world. So a lot of sort of divinities, a lot of things, how we make history, how we make legends. There is, for instance, this weekend coming up, there is an event called Lip Wing, which is 10 people from the audience are sitting together with creators writing a new musical. And it's a lot of fun. It's very current, not just the theme, but the format, because even before COVID, social media, ironically, had never made people more isolated and lonely. Mm-hmm. And so what this event does, it puts everyone into this micro community for a short period of time that people have lost. They're actually forced to interact without a phone. Imagine. It's almost as new and controversial a subject nowadays as engineered drafting in grade 10 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the productions. As you mentioned, they're in various locations. You're not in a theater setting, as it were.
Yeah, indeed. So our centerpiece is a musical called The Frogs, about god of theater Dionysus, who has to travel to the underworld to save our doomed civilization. And so he brings from the dead George Bernard Shaw, a famous playwright, and William Shakespeare, even more famous playwright, if such a thing is possible. And both of them have to duel as in a contest who will be the chosen by us, by the audience, to show us the world and what's important. This is a very rarely produced musical. We're doing it outdoors in a private estate of John and Bob Gilroy at 801 Big Bay Point Road. It's a beautiful property. It's lush. We're doing it outdoors. Of course, there's all sorts of rain contingencies in place and that sort of stuff. So I look forward to causing a lot of excitement with non-traditional venue. A little fun fact: when the musical was first done in 1974, both Meryl Streep and Sigourney Weaver were in the chorus playing the Frogs.
Really?
So,
wow.
This show has a potential of turning least likely people and to most likely people. And so that's the centerpiece. And then, of course, we are doing where folks can, together with artists, write a new show just for fun. There is also improv. On the topic of myths and legends, there is an improv night. We have installations. We have 5 installations that folks can go in, one after the other, or split it into separate days to kind of, there is an audio experience, there is a visual installation, all sorts of things. It's very funny. And we're also using Springwater Park. In Springwater, Jeff Maneg had graciously invited us back and let us use this wonderful gazebo for new play readings. So there is 2 plays that are being created, and the audience can see them for the first time in this beautiful, beautiful place in our area. It's magical. You almost don't have to do anything. You can just sit there.
The planning for this, I mean, just getting the production together in the first place and bringing the players together and the directors and the producers and all of that is one thing. But now you're going far afield to put these on, and so the planning process must be amazing.
It is something else entirely, and because of course every time we tackle a project, yes, of course we've been through it, most of us, many times. In our case, this is the end of our 22nd season. We are announcing our 23rd at 11 o'clock this morning, so we know. But yet every project is a completely different investigation, different research, requires a different kind of approach, something that we couldn't have possibly anticipated. So I'm thinking, if that's the case of the art making process, and artistic process is the greatest problem solving process, so we're thinking, let's develop bigger problems to solve.
So it starts this weekend.
Starts on Thursday and runs till July 5th. There is a comprehensive schedule on our website at www.tift.ca.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming in. Billed as a day of music, love, and appreciation, Davestock returns to the Queen's hometown bar on Saturday. Barrie 360's Julius Hearn gets the details from Nancy Blaine, one of the organizers.
For people who don't know, describe the event to people and maybe describe what Dave meant to you.
The event is organized by friends and family of David Yule, who passed away suddenly on December 4th, 2019. Dave was a local musician. He was an environmental advocate and an avid cyclist. Well-respected member of the community, passionate about music, and he created a warm and friendly and inclusive environment for everyone who knew him. He worked at Georgian College, MEC, Base Borden, and he was a founding member of several bands in Barrie, including JDM and Lookout Nelson. The event is being held on a date that was really important to Dave. He loved the summer solstice weekend, and he used to co-host a neighborhood party. And so we felt that if we were going to honor him, it would be a great weekend to do that. So that's why it's on the weekend that it is.
What were those summer solstice concerts like when he was still with us?
A lot of fun. I don't know if all of the neighbors would have appreciated the music. I think the local police knew it was happening, but he would have bands on a backyard stage, and there'd be sort of themed drinks and food, and it was a lot of fun.
So it's the 4th annual Davestock. How much have you guys raised in the past, the previous 3 editions?
Oh, I would love to be able to tell you, but I am not the treasurer. Thousands. We've donated to Guitars for Vets, Guitars for Kids. Last year we did Gilda's Club, and we're doing Gilda's Club again this year. They're going to be there in full force with hopefully their Gilda cardboard cutout, and they'll be accepting donations at the door. And then we do raise funds through the sale of Davestock merchandise, and so a lot of that money goes to Gilda's as well.
So what makes Gilda's Club the right choice for the charity for this event?
Gilda's Club was pretty close to Dave's heart. Dave lost his wife Ruth to cancer, and he and his son did access services and were quite involved with Gilda's.
I know that you were a former bandmate. What's it been like playing without him?
Well, at the beginning, we weren't sure if we were going to carry on. We weren't sure if we were going to add someone new, because there was a hole there. I mean, Dave was quite a personality, so you knew he was on the stage, and missed him at practices, and but we've kept going. We've done it sort of for Dave.
When and where did you meet Dave?
Oh, that's interesting. Dave worked down the hall from me at Georgian College, and I hadn't been involved in music for quite some time. And he heard that I had played keyboard and asked if I would come out to a practice. And I did. And I remember walking over to his place. I was so nervous because I hadn't played in so long. And yet here was this guy encouraging me to come out and do what you can. And then after the practice was over, it was, can you come back next week? And really brought me out of my shell, if you want to know the truth. He really encouraged me to come back. And I was with JDM, and now I'm with Lookout Nelson. So all attributable to Dave.
You guys are playing this event as well, Lookout Nelson. In the previous editions of this event, has it been very, very emotionally charged for you guys playing in memory of him?
It is, because you always look over and there's that space that he used to take up. So there's always a couple of moments during the day that really bring some tears to my eyes. Dave used to sing our last song, Low Rider, and in sort of a special way. And that does make me emotional, too. Every time I hear that song, that's all I can think about is Dave.
What's going to be different about the event this year than maybe the previous three?
Every year, it gets a little bit bigger and a little bit better. We're actually finishing a little earlier this time because we only have 3 bands. They're starting at about 3:45 in the afternoon. Mad Hatters, PJ Wilson in the midnight hour, and then Lookout Nelson will take the stage probably around 6 o'clock. We've got more merchandise to sell. That seems to be a big thing.
How can people who want to get involved with this event?
Well, come on out. First of all, come and see what it's all about. Especially if you knew Dave and that connection is there, then it'll be a really meaningful afternoon for you. If you want to get involved with the committee, you can always approach any one of us and say, I'd like to roll up my sleeves and do some work for you, because that's always great. But most of all, we just want people to come out and remember Dave for that kind-hearted, gentle person that he was, very peaceful, soulful kind of person. And hopefully a little bit of that rubs off on everyone, and we all walk away feeling a little kinder, a little gentler. That's the goal.
And one last time, just tell everyone where it is, when it is.
It's the 4th annual Davestock. It's Saturday, June 21st at the Queen's Hometown Bar.
It seems like a fantastic event. I'm looking forward to it. Nancy, thank you so much for coming in and chat with me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Again, the event starts at 2 Saturday afternoon at the Queen's Hometown Bar on Dunlop Street. And that's our program for this week. Thanks to Julius for his input, to Matt Ladder for his technical expertise, and to you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to What Barrie's Talking About, rate it, review it. You can also keep up with What Barrie's Talking About on Blue Sky and X at Barrie360, on our website, Barrie360.com, and there's our daily Kickstart podcasts available from any streaming service and on our website. I'm Dan Blakeley. Hope you'll join us again next week.